Hello, darling. I am back for another episode of Lusty Chick TV. I think that's what I'm going to call this channel. I think I'm going to call this channel Lusty Chick TV because this is going to be a channel about lusty things. I guess that's what I'll call it. Lusty Chick TV. I am your gracious host, Erika, the Lusty Chick. So, anyway, I gotta say this. The literary gods must be shining down the blessings because some stories that I wrote that is supposed to be lost in hard drive heaven have somehow miraculously reappeared. Not all of the stories that I wrote back in the day, but some of the stories that I wrote that I was fairly proud of, I've actually found. And I actually found them buried in an old Gmail account that I had. I remember back when I was writing these stories, I would send a copy to this guy who would like proofread them for me and make sure that my pronunciation and shit was proper, you know, especially since I was trying to get shit published. I wanted to make sure that, you know, I was spelling shit right and putting commas where commas are supposed to be and, you know, all that good writing stuff, you know. So I would send them to him and he would proofread them and he would like put commas and periods where commas and periods should go so that I don't sound like a total idiot. Okay, right. So anyway, I actually found part 2 of the Madam C story that I wrote. The previous video that I recorded was about the brothel owner in the 1800s. Well, I found the second part of that story. And here it is from the old Gmail account that I had. So I found it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. But anyway, here we go. Here we go. This is the story of Madam C. This is actually the second part. And it says, I guess you can say that I was destined for this kind of life. You know, the life of a worldly woman, a kept woman. I never lifted a finger in all my years, and truthfully speaking, I never planned on it. If God willing, I hope to die counting money, feeling furs, and wearing diamonds. I hate to boast about myself, but if I may for a moment, excuse me, I would like to go on record as being the first woman of color to purchase an automobile. Only second to the present inventor, Madam C.J. Walker, who purchased hers in 1916. I purchased mine in 1919. I never married nor had any children because my daddy always said that one should never get involved with anything that you couldn't walk away from in 10 minutes. So if you ever needed to pick up and run away, you could do so without the burdens of a family and children to lug around. Although my daddy had his cruelties when it came to the idea of family life, I can honestly say that my daddy treated me and my mother exquisitely. We had the best that money could buy, or need I say, the best that my daddy could steal. My mom and daddy were raised on the same plantation together and were biologically cousins. Master Bequette was my daddy's daddy, and his brother was my mother's daddy. Master always arranged these type of relations between the mulatto children, so oftentimes when families would arrange marriages between these types of children, they would usually be somehow related by blood, first cousins, sometimes brother and sister. This tradition was long held made popular by European monarchy in order to keep the bloodlines pure. The main idea was to eliminate any traces of black blood so that the children could be introduced in polite society and marry into wealthy elite families. It's all part of the economics, another plot for masters to make money. The one thing Master failed to realize was that all this contrived and controlled race mixing slowed field production, as the mulatto slaves were not as genetically strong or adapt to the heat and exhaustion as the full-blooded Negro slaves. In the process, this race-mixing phenomenon created this sort of middle group that felt superior to the full-blooded Negroes, but were almost inferior to them in physicality. But in the end, when the revolt broke out, all the Negroes were killed, even the mulattoes. So that's where that kind of ended. I'm going to revise that and try to give it a new, I don't know, I want to rewrite that. I want to rewrite it, but like I said, I'm not at that same mind space that I was in when I wrote this. You know, I'm in a different mind space. My experiences are different, so I don't think the ability to write as well is no longer there. I can blog a little bit, but to like really put together true thought about pieces is extremely hard. But you know, whatever. I'm gonna try to revive this story and get it out there. I know that a lot of people are interested in that. So anyway, I also wanted to write a kind of book that's like Confessions of a Promiscuous Teen. You know, now this isn't, I don't want nobody to come in here with that Dr. Phil bullshit and that Dr. Oz shit about teenage promiscuity and the issues behind teenage, you know, all that bullshit. Listen, this is just some shit to entertain you. You know, if you just like to read or hear about the life of a ratchet teen, I got that. I got that. Oh, my arsenal is full of shit to say, right? One particular that I am going to write about is back when I was about 17 or 18, me and a girl that I went to school with. She would spend the weekends with me. Her parents were very strict. You know, they didn't let her do anything. She could barely talk on the phone, and you know, and they were just really strict. So, you know, in their eyes, I was a good influence. Why would they think that? So they would let her come to my house, and she would come to my house every weekend, and me and her would lie to my parents and tell my parents that we were going skating. So my dad would drop us off at the skating rink, and you know, from the skating rink we would call this guy. He was probably about 22, 23. We'd call this guy to come pick us up, and he would pick us up from the skating rink and take us back to his house, well, his mother's house. And we would, you know, go in the basement, and I would either watch them or listen to them have sex. I preferred to listen, because watching them was kind of awkward. They were kind of awkward. They didn't know what the hell that they were doing, but listening to them was a very pleasurable experience. It was. So I'm going to talk about that, talk about some other things, how I basically, like, I'll explain later, but I basically, like, fucked this delivery guy that just was just dropping off sodas at his little gas station. Yeah, look, I don't want to hear no shit, Dr. Phil and all this other bullshit, you know, self-esteem. I was just a curious teen and I liked sex. Sue me. Peace.